Hello, Geoff. I owe you another video. It's coming. I've not ignored it. I've just got to get round to doing it. I'll do it before I go on holiday, and then you'll have it, okay? And then it'll be done. It's a good one, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And the gag is solid, so I'm totally on board with that. Anyhow, here is today's question that you've sent me, and I sense a trap, but we're going in anyway because I'm an idiot, and I'll do more or less anything for a tenner. Please explain decimalisation and the continued use of imperial measurements in the UK. Now then, I don't need to explain decimalisation to you because that's relatively straightforward. Decimalisation is just it's a better and a more scientific way of measuring stuff, right? And that doesn't matter whether that is distance or weight or what else could you put in there? Yeah, measurements of fluid. What am I missing? I'm surely I'm missing one. Feels like I'm missing one. Distance, yes. Weight, yes. Volume, yes. No, I think that's it, right? And you know this already. You're just going to see what I come up with. So yeah, it's entirely scientifically based, and it's based on base 10. Now, the reason that base 10 is so good for humans is because of this. Yeah, we got 10 digits in front of us, and therefore base 10 is particularly good in terms of understanding as for humanity. Were that we had 8 digits, oh, let's come up with an 8-digit approach, right? Then base 8 would work for us particularly well. Some anthropologist type people have postulated such things historically. In fact, War of the Worlds makes reference to the fact that the tripods are that way because the Martians have a triple eye lens kind of dealio going on there. I'm sure you're familiar with the work. Anyway, decimalisation, pretty simple stuff, and you know that it's pretty simple stuff, but what you want me to get into is why then do we continue to use imperial measurements? Well, the clue's very much in the title. Firstly, let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Firstly, it's pretty expensive to switch over. I mean, you have to, you've got to, redo your signs and your packaging labels and your measurements across the board, and then you've got textbooks that will be out of date and who knows what else. There is a price tag attached to going decimal. The fact that we haven't is not because of the price tag. Stateside, I couldn't tell you one way or the other, but I suspect it's something similar. Is that it is the older generations that tend to be the decision makers for the country as a whole, rather than young folk. Now, I'm 45 years of age, and when I was in school, I was taught decimal. All right, I was in school, 30 plus years ago. Well, yeah, 35 plus years ago. From a wee small child, I was taught decimal. I was not taught imperial at all. I wasn't taught it. It was all decimal. Everything was base 10. I since learned that I'm 6 feet tall. I since learned my rather unnecessary weight in pounds and stone rather than in kilograms, which is what any right-thinking person would do. And this was all because of the influence of the older generation who were still using those measurements quite readily. I buy stuff in, I'll buy a pint. It's ridiculous. And then I'm quite happy to go and buy a couple of litres or something if I go to the supermarket, or I fill my car in litres now. There is some progress being made. But those who were unaccustomed, who are unaccustomed to decimalisation, are still clinging to imperial measurements, and it is this fear of change that holds back some of the things that might drive us forward. But then you can turn your attention to the rather turbulent political environment we find ourselves in, because here's where the clue really lies. It's the word imperial. The UK comes with quite a significant amount of historical baggage. I've got to go even further with this one. Is World War II, right? So World War II, people talk about who lost World War II. I'll tell you who lost World War II. The United Kingdom. We lost. It might be that one side was defeated militarily and gave up the ghost. But as part of reparations and war damages and the like, Germany had to supply the UK with X amount of machinery, fundamentally. So we got a whole bunch of stuff out of their factories. We stripped their factories dry, and you know, we took those and we made use of that, and that was great. Except, of course, that then Germany had to build all new stuff as it rebuilt itself under, you know, with a fresh, somewhat shamefaced, experience of the world. They had to rebuild, so they had all new machines, whereas we still had all of this. I mean, admittedly, you know, it was good technology when it was built, but it wasn't good technology for long, and Britain was bankrupt. We owed America flipping everything under the Lend-Lease kind of deal that we'd done with them to keep us afloat during our island fortress period. Meanwhile, the members of the empire, because we still had an empire going in, well, part of the deal we had with them was independence. And so Britain, United Kingdom, lost its empire overnight. But there is still a misty kind of yearning back for a time when, you know, the United Kingdom had an empire, and certain areas of certainly print media like to dwell on those times. The royal family is arguably a relic of the imperial age. Now, I've actually got nothing against the royal family. I think they're a tremendous tourist attraction, and they do a great deal of good in that regard. Not to mention the fact, lesser known fact about the Queen, that I've got a great deal of sympathy for, is every time she goes absolutely anywhere, she has to listen to that same flaming song every time. She goes anywhere, she opens a door somewhere, they're doing the national anthem at her, and she goes, oh, yeah, not again. Gets off a plane, national flipping anthem. Goes down the road to some supermarket that's doing some national anthem. Everywhere she goes. 86 times a day, national anthem. Now, she does get to live in a very big house, but she's also, you know, she has no privacy going on there in the slightest. So, you know, there's that. But, you know, they bring a lot of tourists, so, you know, I'll allow it. I have sympathy for them. They're bringing a lot of money in tourist revenue. They're fine by me. So yes, so it is this clinging to the notion that, you know, Rule Britannia rules the waves and all of that kind of jazz. Well, that's not brilliant, because we don't anymore. We lost it all. It's all gone. And yet people seem to think that actually by having some notion of independence, we can get it all back again. And that's part and parcel of both why we're politically turbulent right now, and why decimalisation hasn't been adopted. That's, you know, it is people who have in their mind that, you know, this is a great country and great things come out of it. This is a privileged country, no doubt. I think we've lost our way, no doubt. I think we're misguided and led by those that don't necessarily have any agenda beyond the betterment of themselves at their heart. And I don't just mean our politicians. I mean, you know, those who seek to influence the populace. It's all very, very, very sad, frankly. And hopefully this entire period acts as a bit of a wake-up call for us. I've gone so far off-piste here. This is, you know, I keep my channel politics free. Well, I'm actually very political, but I keep it out of my channel because it dilutes the main purpose of what I do, which is the fun of gaming. There's enough things to drag you down. You don't need me being one of them. Games are fun. And you set me up, Geoff, and you knew I'd bite because we've had conversations in the past. You knew this was coming. Now I've done you 10 minutes worth of video when you're only supposed to get 3. And I still owe you another video where you're going to get 10 minutes of video and you're still going to go 3. Anyway, let's boil this down into a distinct sentence. Decimalization, very straightforward. It's scientific and it translates. You know, 1 kilogram weighs the same as 1 liter of fluid. You know, it's stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if your fluid's particularly aerated, then it's going to be slightly different. But you know, fundamentally, these measurements, they cross against each other. It's what science uses, and it is science that will solve the big problems that we've created for ourselves as a species. The reluctance to take it on board in this country, yes, it has a price tag, but it also has a political price tag. It will be seen as kowtowing to our European masters and those who want to do away with the remnants of the British Empire. And you kind of go, well, to be honest, we were actually leading quite a lot of the stuff in Europe there that we're now voting against. Well, what a bunch of Burks, honestly. Anyway, there you go. That answers your question and more besides. Yeah? Never let it be said this is not value for money. Anyway, you know where to reach me. Feel free to issue some kind of response, should you see the need to do so. Hasta luego, mon ami. There you go, multilingual. Cheerio.